Alright, man, peace. As many brothers know who watch my NBA videos, I'm on record as stating for a very long time now that I still believe, or at least believed, that LeBron James is the best player in the NBA and therefore the best player in the world when it comes to basketball. Number two, or really number 1A, I had Kevin Durant, even though I believe that Kevin Durant has a greater overall offensive and defensive repertoire than LeBron James at this point in his career. Due to the fact that Kevin Durant shows little to no leadership abilities or skills, I still had to have LeBron James over KD over the length of their careers and what each has accomplished. Right now, LeBron has 3 titles. Kevin Durant still has 2. We'll see how things turn out at the end of this season. Number 3, or really number 1B, I would always say is Steph Curry because of his tremendous offensive impact. Steph Curry is an evolutionary player. In the same way that Michael Jordan came into the NBA and he necessitated the creation of Dwayne Wade and Kobe Bryant and Ray Allen, Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady, that's the effect that Michael Jordan had. He was an evolutionary player. He took the NBA and brought them to the next step in how it was understood the game should be played and how it could be dominated by a wing player. Steph Curry, with his style of play, starting in 2012, 2013, but really taking it to the next level in 2014, he necessitated that every point guard in the NBA now believed that it was okay for them to take 30-foot jump shots as long as they were making them, because you stretch the floor and the value of the three-point shot is so much greater than the value of a long-range two-point shot, especially with the way that defenses play in today's game. That's why I've always ranked Steph Curry so high. Number 4, I would have Kawhi Leonard, because of the way he's been able to dominate the game on both ends of the court and the fact that he was an NBA Finals MVP. I've always stated that players like Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving and Giannis and Russell Westbrook and James Harden, they were outside of the realm of being considered a superstar in my view, because they had never won a regular season MVP or postseason MVP award. They had never shown that they could lead a team. So they were outside of that criteria. But much like the story of King David, it appears to me that Giannis Antetokounmpo is that player who's going to replace LeBron as the best player in the NBA. Not Steph Curry, not Kevin Durant, not Kawhi. Because he has everything in one package. He has the leadership ability. He's able to dominate offensively. He's able to dominate defensively. He really is this generation's version of Shaquille O'Neal for this style of play. With the cardio style that this current NBA is played with, the constant up and down, he is today's Shaq. Except he's better defensively than Shaq ever was, and he's a better leader because he's selfless. So I do have to say that based on the season that he's had today, if I was to pick a new number 1 player in the NBA, when I analyze all those components, I have to pick Giannis. He might not be the best player skill set wise. That would still be KD. But when it comes to everything that he brings to the table, I have to say Giannis. So anyway, they're going to talk about it. I'm going to chime in.
Where does Giannis rank right now amongst the best players in the world?
I'm glad you asked that. Let me tell you something. Giannis doesn't shoot the 3. If Giannis shot the 3, he takes a couple of games, he doesn't hit them. If Giannis shot the 3, or if he ever learns to really shoot the 3, say better than 35%, and he takes a bunch of them, it's not that he's going to pass LeBron as the best player in the game. He could do that by the end of this year. Don't let the Bucks get to the finals and win 2 games from the Warriors. Giannis might pass LeBron then.
I would agree with that. That's the only thing that's holding Giannis back from being widely considered the best player in the NBA right now. His team has to make a major playoff push. They have to get to the finals in order for him to be truly taken seriously as the best player in the NBA. Because right now, by default, many people are saying KD. And I understand, because KD, as I've stated incessantly so far, or repeatedly thus far in this video, his skill set is far more diversified and nuanced than a Giannis. KD is great from the free throw line. He's great mid-range. He's great long range. He can finish right hand, left hand. He's explosive in the lane. He's also great on defense. But once again, he's not a leader. He's not a leader. KD's one of the great weapons in the history of the NBA, arguably the greatest weapon in the history of the NBA. Giannis, when I look at Giannis, I see leadership capabilities. There's only one thing that I'm a little leery about when it comes to Giannis, and it's that girlfriend that he has, okay? That chick that he's running with, whatever her name is, Sprinkle Gruber or Spryberger, whatever that long ass name is that she has. That chick needs to be watched, because I believe that she knows a mark when she sees one. And Giannis seems like a very nice guy. He's from overseas. He might not quite understand the American woman that well. Or maybe he does and I just don't know. But that situation is something to be monitored, because Giannis is the type to get serious about a chick really quickly because of his background and his culture. And a lot of American females will try to take advantage of that. So that's something to be watched. But when it comes to everything else, he's trending towards replacing LeBron as the best player in the NBA.
He'll be the best player who ever lived. If Giannis is knocking down threes, he's going to be the best player who ever lived. That includes Michael Jordan.
This guy loves hyperbole so much. I think that Giannis, if he develops a three-point shot and he's able to play at this level for another 9-10 years, he could possibly break into the top 15 or top 10 players of all time. But he has to win 4 or 5 championships, and he has to be a consistent 28 point per game, 12 rebound a game, 6-7 assist guy. If he can get his three-point shooting percentage around that 35% range, and his free throw shooting around 75% consistently, and his teams actually win championships, then we can start to mention him in that top 15, top 10 area.
You know it when your eyeballs are on it. Stephen A., you like the traditional counting numbers. How's this right now? You mentioned Paul George's numbers. They're great. Paul George is having such a year. It's unbelievable. Giannis, 27, 13, and 6 points, rebounds, assists.
Very underrated passer. Great passer, Giannis is.
27, 13, and 6. But hold on. With a block and a half a game. And shooting 58% from the field. Yeah. And even from the free throw line, he's 72%. That's respectable.
That's very good, especially for someone of his size and with the hand size that he has as well.
He's one of these 50-60% shooters. And then he's defensively a terror. And then he sees the floor like a point guard and passes the ball like LeBron. This dude is not only, right now, as we speak, better than everyone not named LeBron. That includes Durant, that includes Harden, that includes AD, who I thought would be in this position by the end of this year. That includes Kawhi, Paul George.
AD can't be in that position because AD is not a leader. That's why that aspect, that characteristic is pivotal, man. AD has the same quality of teammates as Giannis has in Milwaukee. And I promise you that in that locker room, Alvin Gentry is saying that very thing to his assistant coaches, to the GM, to certain prominent figures affiliated with the New Orleans Pelicans. He's telling them, if Anthony had the mindset of Giannis, maybe we could have had some of the same results that the Milwaukee Bucks are getting. I disagree with that because I don't think that Alvin Gentry is a great coach. I think that he's average. I believe that Giannis is fortunate to finally have gotten a great coach. And also he has greatly improved himself coming into this season. But if Anthony Davis had the mentality that Giannis had, that team in New Orleans has talent. Drew Holiday, they have Mirotic, they have Julius Randle, a healthy Elfrid Payton. That team has a lot of talent. It's just that Anthony Davis is not leader. So he got revealed.
And everyone. Not as only is he the second best, and yes, he's got to prove it in the playoffs, Stephen A. I agree.
That's pivotal.
This moment, he's the second best. If he gets to the finals and makes a run at the Warriors, just wins a couple games, I'm going to sit here and tell you he's replaced LeBron as the best player in basketball.
And what I'm going to say to you is a couple of things. Number one, you need to be drug tested immediately.
That drug test is going to come up positive depending on what they're testing for. Allegedly.
One. Number two, I'm going to tell you why. You throw out a bunch of ifs. Well, you know what, Max? If I went to hair club for men, my hairline would be forward, all right? I'd have an afro. If you want to use ifs, if your eyes were smaller, you might need glasses, okay? Don't give me no bunch of ifs. Let's talk about what is. Kevin Durant is the second best player in the world, period.
Well, KD actually is the most talented, the most naturally gifted player in the world. And it's discernible. The disparity is something that's discernible. I won't say that it's drastic. I don't want to go the hyperbolic Max Kellerman route. But if we were to just compare what KD can do on a basketball floor to what Giannis can do on a basketball floor, there's nothing that Giannis can do that KD can't do. There are many things that KD can do that Giannis can't do. But the difference is in the mentality. It's in the approach. And it's in the ability to lead and to actually have guys who want to follow him. and to understand how to conduct himself with the media, to not allow the media to create narratives that you constantly have to answer to or respond to over the course of a season. Giannis understands that to a far higher degree than KD. And that's why I would take Giannis over KD if I'm starting a team.
Let me tell you something right now.
And I have to give Kellerman credit for that, because he's been saying it for a while now, and at first I rejected it. But after I've seen what Giannis has done with this team over the course of the regular season, and the effect that having a leader of his quality has on that team and on that locker room, I have to give him a lot more credit. Especially when I've seen how KD and players like Kyrie Irving have pretty much melted down under the spotlight and the scrutiny of the same media that they court so much.
I know that we know that I've been critical of Kevin Durant initially when he went to Golden State. You know why I got over that? Because the first time he went up against LeBron James in the finals with Golden State, let's go, and gave it to him.
He absolutely did. But what KD understood is that I can go mano a mano with LeBron James because our responsibilities are different. Our system is different. Cleveland was running the LeBron James system. Golden State was running the Golden State system. Big difference. So KD could pretty much go out there with a free mind because he knew that when he got to his spot, Steph Curry, Draymond gonna give him the basketball. It's not gonna be Russell out there dribbling and making a funny face and trying to go to the basket with some crazy shot, or pulling up for three from 35 feet when he's shooting 22% from three-point land. So when KD no longer had to worry about that, he could just focus on LeBron. He knew that Steph had his matchup with Kyrie. They were pretty much going to nullify one another. So he knew it was just going to come down to him and LeBron.
Just once, but yes, he did. Yes, he did. Hold on. I'll let you finish. Let me finish. Kevin Durant averaged 35 and 8. Max Kellerman, do you know, other than his very first year in the playoffs, which you're still waiting for the Greek Freak to prove it, do you know that other than the first year of Kevin Durant's playoff, under his first year in the playoffs, that man has averaged a minimum of 28 a game in the playoffs? Right now, Kevin Durant is averaging 27, 7, and 6. Oh, by the way, the free throws, nearly 90%. The perimeter shooting, inarguable. You've acknowledged that he's improved and he's a great defensive player. So look, you know what I think,
is that
Max?
better than 27,
are you ready for this, Max?
13, and 6?
Good point, Max Kellerman. Kellerman said his 27, 7, and 6 is good as 27, 13, and 6. I don't think that you can even try to respond to many of Stephen A. Smith's points here because they're all accurate. Yes, Kevin Durant has far more diversity in his offensive skill set than Giannis does. I don't think that that's the terrain that you want to wage this battle on. You want to wage this battle on the terrain of the intangibles, like leadership.
I think you're biased against skinny people. That's what I think is.
Well, Giannis is kind of skinny himself. You know, he's put on a little bit of size the last couple of years, but I mean, he's not Shaq, literally.
You think you're biased against skinny people,
the freak is skinny?
Listen, Kevin Durant obviously don't have muscles. He didn't gain 57 pounds of muscles like the Greek Freak. Do you know how many things he can do that Greek Freak is still learning about?
There's one thing he can do. There's one thing
that you show to Kevin Durant is unconscionable.
KD can do.
This brother is on another level.
KD shoots it like if the Greek Freak shot it like KD is the best player of all time. KD shoots it better than the Greek Freak. He don't do anything else better than the.
Yeah, I will pay to see Stephen A. Smith in an argument Olympics. Like, you know, maybe we could just find 10 ratchet ass hood rat black chicks to argue with Stephen A. Smith in an argument Olympics, just about any topic, just to see how far Stephen A. Smith could go. Like, but he doesn't.
Greek Freak. He doesn't pass the ball better than the Greek Freak. He's not as aggressive. He doesn't take it to the rack as good as the Greek Freak. He doesn't have the same court vision as the Greek Freak.
Talk basketball?
But I want to say this.
You shouldn't even be allowed. You shouldn't even be allowed. You act like shooting is important in basketball.
I gotta bring this up. I gotta check you on this fact.
I agree with you, Steve. Shooting is extremely important, but their style of play, their player paradigm is different. Kevin Durant is more in the mold of the George Gervin type, the Alex English type. That's the Kevin Durant mold. The Greek Freak mold is Shaquille O'Neal. He's Shaq with great mobility and great conditioning. That's what he is.
Okay, please.
You religiously, as you say, bring up the fact that in the finals, KD, the first time he's there with Golden State, 73-win team, boy, he gave LeBron the business, average 35 points. Stephen, I'm sorry, who's the greatest shooter of all time?
Steph Curry.
To me, Steph Curry.
Who's the second greatest shooter of all time?
Larry Bird.
Damn, that's a hard one.
Is Clay on the list?
I throw Clay in there,
Okay.
Ray Allen,
Right.
you know, Reggie.
But
I
Clay's
gotta
on
think
the
about
list,
it. Larry
right?
Bird.
It
I gotta
could
think
be
about
Clay, though, right?
Probably Larry Bird. It'd be Clay or Larry Bird.
No, it couldn't be Clay. Clay's one of the more overrated shooters in the history of the NBA. And I say that from a game perspective. What Klay Thompson is arguably the hottest catch and shoot shooter in the history of the NBA. What I mean by that is he can get hotter than any catch and shoot shooter in the history of the NBA that I've ever seen. He's right there with Reggie Miller. He's right there with Ray Allen when it comes to catch and shooting and getting hot. When it comes to just pure shooting, I would say Steph Curry and Larry Bird. And Larry Bird might be number one, but I would probably take Steph over Larry Bird.
Go with that.
So you mean to tell me you're giving KD extra credit because he joined the greatest shooter and maybe the second greatest shooter of all time in their prime? So that in the playoffs, he has to be single covered?
May I please answer that? Because I got news for you. When it comes to basketball, baby, sit back and take notes. Let me tell you something, Max Kellerman. When you're playing basketball, I understand having teammates help you. Please don't get me wrong, because it takes a team to win. But more so than in most other sports, most of the teams.
Life also takes a team to win. Life is a team game. Everything is a team game. The quicker people realize that, the more successful they'll be. When Kevin Durant understood or came to realize how important the team aspect was to being fruitful and successful, that's when great things started to happen for him. LeBron James still struggles with that understanding.
That is, you do get a chance to put your individual excellence on display. There does come moments in time where it's me against you, baby, and it ain't about your teammates helping you. What you got? And I am telling you, 4 years, his entire career, you put KD on the court with anybody. The numbers are consistent. The efficiency is consistent.
Agree with that.
This
Great
man
player.
is, listen.
If you look up Kevin Durant's numbers with OKC from his second year, it's unbelievable. It's basically 27, 28 points per game every year and somewhere around 50% shooting from the field. Playing basically in a playground style offense where it's just your turn, my turn, go one-on-one. When he comes to Golden State, he becomes a 25, 26, 27 point per game guy, shooting 53, 54% from the field on majority mid-range and long-range jump shots. As a pure scorer in the last 30 years, when it comes to proficiency and output, it's Michael Jordan and Kevin Durant, and really nobody else. Because Kobe and AI, yeah, they put up a lot of high-scoring numbers, but their proficiency was very low. As well as James Harden. He's shooting 42, 43% from the field.
Can I ask you a question? Have you ever asked yourself this question? What if KD had the ball in his hands, chose to have the ball in his hands as much as LeBron, and was as aggressive? You ever think about what KD could do? KD would.
Well, yeah, KD could put up big numbers. We kind of saw that in 2014 when he won the MVP. He played a very similar style to LeBron James in 2014 when he won the MVP and Russ was out for a while. So, yeah, we know what KD can do, but the issue is, does KD want to do that over the long haul, mentally or physically? Because he does not have the physique of a LeBron James. So would he wear down if he played in that style for an elongated period of time? Once again, self-awareness is a key factor in success. KD was self-aware enough to understand that he fit in perfectly in the Golden State system. So he went there and he did. He assimilated seamlessly.
KD could do? KD would eclipse Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as the greatest scorer in NBA history.
I'm not quite sure about that, sir. Many people make those statements about who's going to surpass Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. KD's a great scorer. But that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar number is a number that the closer you seem to get to it, the farther away it gets. Now, quiet as kept, I truly believe that the player who has the greatest opportunity to reach Kareem is LeBron because of how he maintains his body and also, yes, how he dominates the basketball and they're playing in his system. So as long as he stays healthy over the next 4 years, he should be the player to pass Kareem. And then they're going to make up this big thing about how he's not even a scorer and blah, blah, blah. LeBron James is a scorer. In order for you to score over 30,000 points, you're a scorer. Oh, he's pass first. No, he's not. LeBron James is not a pass first player. A pass first player is Rajon Rondo.
If you gave KD Michael Jordan's personality, sure, he's the greatest player.
I'm just saying,
he has his personality.
We're talking.
Agreed.
Still, we're talking about.
Let's
LeBron
do your.
James,
I will follow
he's
your
not
thought.
The scorer.
I'll follow your thought. Okay.
Okay.
KD is asked to do what LeBron James does on a team with LeBron James's team's talent, not KD's team's talent. So he doesn't have the greatest shooters ever, etc. He also has to basically run the point and orchestrate the offense the entire game. I don't think he can do it.
Right, but that's a straw man argument because he wouldn't do it because KD knows how to play in a real system. And you'll notice this, and I've stated this numerous times on many videos. What LeBron James super fans love to do, they love to create this scenario where LeBron is supposed to be a sympathetic figure because he has to run the offense and the players around him are not good enough. Well, the reason why he has to run the offense is because he's shown consistently that he cannot play in a real system. The reason why the teammates around him are not up to par is because as he's gotten older, more and more NBA stars understand him for what he really is and don't want to play with him. So all of his issues are self-caused.
Proof in the pudding is when Steph is not in the game, the Warriors fall down to just a powerhouse team.
That's relatively true. But I will say this, their offense is geared around Steph Curry. It's not geared around KD.
When KD's not in the game, but Steph is still there, the Warriors are basically still the Warriors. In other words, the guy who's asked to orchestrate the offense, Steph, can do it, and in his absence, KD can't. So you're saying, what if KD was asked to...
Well, that's partly true, but it's also because when Steph is out, KD does not play the Steph role. Remember, Steph is not even really the point guard of that team. They have a relatively equal opportunity offense that they run, predicated on the other four players without the basketball moving without the ball, and the expectation that any player who has the basketball can make the appropriate decision. They don't really run a point guard centric offense. It's very similar to, in that way anyway, it's very similar to Phil Jackson's triangle or even the offense that San Antonio runs. Remember that Steve Kerr is an acolyte of those two coaches. You've never seen on a Phil Jackson team or a Greg Popovich team a player average 11, 12 assists because they have to move the basketball.
What LeBron does, he can't do it. And the reason LeBron is exhausted in those games by the end is because the entire focal point of the defense is stop LeBron. You can't defend KD like that because it's Steph and Clay.
Max, you annoy me when you make points that are clearly open to be squashed, and your definition of trying to win a debate is denying me an opportunity to retort. The fact
You
of the
are
matter
not
is
talking
this:
about ball control on this show.
LeBron James.
I agree with that, Max Kellerman. And beyond that, Stephen A. Smith, if you feel like you have the ability to destroy his statements, then just destroy his statements. You don't have to say that you're going to destroy his statement. Just do it. At the end of the day, and I agree with you on this, much of what Max is saying is nonsensical, but then just get to the point. LeBron James can only play in one system. That's the LeBron James system. So it's difficult to compare what the effect of KD playing in a LeBron James style of offense would be when that's not KD's personality. He wants to play on a real team.
Is a playmaker. I get that. What I am saying to you is you're talking about the things that Kevin Durant can't do. I'm saying, what about the things that LeBron can't do? Do you realize?
And how did this argument become LeBron versus KD when it's supposed to be Giannis?
That LeBron is shooting less than 70% from the free throw line. Do you realize that LeBron is a career 73% shooter? Do you realize that LeBron James is not a shooter? He's a scorer, and he can shoot in a streaky fashion.
Watch out, Stephen A. Smith. You're not supposed to call LeBron James a scorer. You're supposed to say he's a quote-unquote pass-first guy who can score, even though he's never averaged 10 assists in a season. But he's a pass-first guy who can score. Once again, pass-first guys are players like John Stockton, Steve Nash, Rajon Rondo. Those are pass-first guys. LeBron James is not a pass-first guy. He's a scorer who can pass.
but he is nowhere near the marksman that Kevin Durant is. He can't close like Kevin Durant can close.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about, close? KD had a chance to close against the Warriors at Oracle on a great team and couldn't close. LeBron, given the same chance, not only closed and beat the 73-win team, same situation, both at Oracle, both Game 7, one in the conference finals, one in the finals, but he iced the game on the free throw line with a bad hand. What are you talking about?
LeBron is a physical specimen. We get that. And his physical dominance is undeniable.
Yeah.
I'm talking from a skilled perspective. Kevin Durant is right there.
That's a pretty good retort by Max, because I do agree. This notion that LeBron James is not a closer, especially in comparison to Kevin Durant, is fallacious. It's really not true. LeBron James has proven over the course of his career that he actually can close. There was a span of time where he allowed a lot of the trash talk of the mainstream media, who were relatively against him for about a 3 or 4 year stretch while he was in Miami, to affect him. But prior to that, while he was in Cleveland, there were stretches where he made game-winning shots and he did close. And over the last 3 years or so, certainly his last couple of years in Cleveland, he's been probably the best closer in the NBA. So let's leave that one alone.
They better. He's right there. And the disrespect that you show to this man. Kevin Durant is the top 2, top 3 player on the planet Earth. He's that
on
elite.
A good day,
This was a lot of fun.
Well, Stephen A. Smith, if you're going to say that KD is a top 2 player or a top 3 player, who are the 2 guys that you're going to put above him? Because obviously you believe that LeBron is above him. So who will be the second guy? Who are you going to say? James Harden?
Very
LeBron's
entertaining.
been top 1
I know
for 10
everyone
years.
at home is. All right. So we agree Giannis is the most dominant right now.
But anyway, that's basically it on that. I am willing to call Giannis Antetokounmpo the best player in the NBA, or at least this is the start of his reign. Let me specify that. I'll say that when we look back 5 or 6 years from now, if this society is still around 5 or 6 years from now, we're going to say that Giannis Antetokounmpo's reign as the best player in the NBA started in the 2018-2019 season. But anyway, peace.